FIFA experiments are back with FIFA 19 experiments, and today we're going to revisit one I did 2 years ago on FIFA 17, which was putting the top 20 teams in the world into the Premier League and seeing what happens by simulating a number of seasons, and that's what I'm going to do today. So some of these picks are a little bit controversial. There's obvious ones like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool. Those sort of teams are pretty obvious that they're going to be in the top 20, but then there's other teams where it's like, who else do I put in? Because a lot of the teams at that second level that I'm talking about are very similar on quality. So I looked at the Champions League from last year, and I looked at the league tables from this year. So how well, after 9 or 10 games, are all these teams doing in their leagues? And I looked at the top 5 leagues in Europe, because let's face it, there's no other league in the world that's better than these leagues and has the better teams in. So I picked these 5 leagues and looked at those. So if you don't like what I've put in, then show your opinions in the comment section and tell me what I should do right. Tell me in the comment section which teams should be in this, and what would your 20 teams be based on the top 20 teams in the world. Alright then, so let's get into it then. So in the first season, we can see the league table. Mönchengladbach, Leipzig and Sevilla end up in the bottom 3, getting relegated to the Championship. Marseille are very close there, a joint on points with Sevilla, and then there's a big gap up to Dortmund there. And then into the higher end of the table then, you've got Bayern Munich getting 5th place with Paris Saint-Germain very close, 3 points behind, and then Chelsea a further 4 points behind. There's a lot of gaps. There's a few teams that get similar points, and there's quite a few gaps. And interestingly, Liverpool came 10th. Now, they got into the final of the Champions League in real life last year, but on this game, they're only really 10th in Europe, which is interesting. And then at the top, Manchester City win it by 5 points. Real Madrid comes second, ahead by a long way of Barcelona in 3rd, and Juventus finish off the top 4. Alright then, so in the FA Cup, Paris end up winning it against Stoke 4-1. Bayern Munich end up winning the Carabao Cup 4-0 against Lazio. And after Season 2, we see Norwich, Stoke and now Marseille finally get relegated. Now, it's quite expected to see Stoke and Norwich to get relegated, but West Brom did very well to stay up. 16th place for them, ahead of Napoli as well. And now towards more the top end of the middle end of the table, again, Bayern Munich are 5th. And then Atletico Madrid 6th, Chelsea in 7th, quite close together on points, and then there's a big gap then to Spurs with 59 points. Again, Liverpool and Arsenal struggling. And now Barcelona take the crown away from Manchester City with 93 points. It's very close second. Real Madrid with 92 points. And then a huge gap then to Juventus and Man City, who round off the top 4, making the same top 4 as last year, but they've just swapped positions a little bit. So, in the Championship, we'll do it one season, because every time I simulate it, it ends up being that these teams, the teams that got relegated from the top league, always got back up again. So, Sevilla, Leipzig and Mönchengladbach are in the playoffs. We'll find out later if they get through or not in the playoffs, but Inter Milan end up beating Real Madrid to win the FA Cup, and then Lazio beat Napoli to win the Carabao Cup, and Mönchengladbach do end up beating Derby. It was 1-1, but they won on penalties 4-3. And one team I did not include, based on their terrible performance, absolutely atrocious performance in the league this season with Mourinho's management. Hashtag Mourinho out. But they end up winning the Super Cup 3-0 against PSG. Then Manchester City end up winning on penalties. How close was that? In the final of the Champions League. In the semi-final, Man City knock out Real Madrid and Barcelona knock out Juventus. And then in the Europa League, you've got Bayern Munich only getting to the round of 16, being knocked out by German team Wolfsburg. So not great at all really for Bayern Munich. Anyway, Season 3, West Brom now finally get relegated. Sevilla and Mönchengladbach back down again. Leipzig, though, they do survive in 15th place. And I've seen Dortmund, they've always been in this part of the table. They haven't been doing very well, even though currently they're top of the German league in real life. Alright then, again, Liverpool getting 10th. I mean, they seem to like that position. Chelsea doing a bit worse, so in 11th place. And then Bayern Munich, consistent as they can be, they're in 5th place again, 3 times in a row. And Man City get the 2nd title for them, ahead of Barcelona by 9 points. They dominated like they did last season in real life. then Real Madrid, but then we've got Atletico Madrid knocking out Juventus, who only came 8th position this year. Alright then, so Spurs end up beating Roma 2-1 to win the FA Cup. Bayern Munich end up beating another German team, Dortmund, 3-1 to win the Carabao Cup. And then Lyon, of all the teams that could win it, Lyon end up winning the UEFA Super Cup. Wow, against the champions of the Premier League, Manchester City. That just seems odd, but Real Madrid beat Juventus, who had a pretty poor season coming in 8th place, but they did well in the Champions League to get to the final. And then you can see what happened here then. Barcelona ends up being knocked out by Lyon 2-1 on aggregate. And then in the round of 16, Manchester City are also knocked out, but this time 3-1 on aggregate by Ajax. Very, very poor performance from these two teams here. So this time, they're a little bit better. Bayern Munich end up winning the whole thing. Well done to them. And Inter Milan do get knocked out by Sporting though, so not great for them. Anyway, after 4 seasons then, you've got Marseille 19th place, Stoke City at the bottom with only 18 points, Brentford also going down. And you can see, it seems to be very like samey. You get sort of the same kind of teams coming in the same positions year on year. So then this time Liverpool have a great season, knock Bayern off their 5th place throne. They're down in 8th place. And also Spurs do quite well just behind Liverpool in 6th, a point behind Liverpool actually. Chelsea having another average season. And Atletico Madrid win, but Man City are again in the top 4, in fact in the top 2, coming second, 3 points behind them. Real Madrid and Barcelona then round off the top 4, with Juventus missing out for another year. Alright then, in the FA Cup, Man City beat Lazio 2-0 to win that. Spurs beat Lazio again, 2-0 again, to win the Carabao Cup. So a good performance from Lazio getting to the Birth Cup finals. Real Madrid end up beating Bayern Munich 2-1 in the final of the Super Cup, this time not won by Lyon. And we look at the Champions League. Atletico Madrid win the league in their country, and they also win the Champions League for Europe. What an amazing season, it just cannot get any better than that. And they seem to lose 2-0, but they do end up winning on aggregate. So that was pretty good. No, they won on away goal, sorry. Then Barcelona ends up beating Valencia quite easily. But then further back in this tournament, we can see that Manchester City ended up playing against Real Madrid. What a game that would have been. They knocked them out 4-3 on aggregate. And Tottenham Hotspur, they beat Lokomotiv Moscow to end up winning the Europa League. But Juventus end up losing on away goals, pushing Lokomotiv Moscow into the final. A disappointing result there. I think this is the final season, I believe. It might be, I don't know. But anyway, Bristol City in 20th place. Mönchengladbach in 19th. And look at Arsenal, look at what has happened to them. They've just got worse and worse and worse as the years have gone on. They have not improved at all. But Dortmund this time don't do too bad, do okay, get 13th place. Alright then, so 5th place goes to Chelsea. Bayern Munich only a point away trying to get their 5th spot for a 4th time, but they fail miserably. Atletico Madrid have a terrible season. They went from 1st to 7th in one season. What has gone on there? And Liverpool back to their usual spot of 12th. This time, Barcelona winning. Is that the second time they won it now? I think it is, maybe. 4 points ahead of Manchester City, again being in top 4 every single season. Juventus are back up there after a 2-year sabbatical from the top 4, and Real Madrid end up rounding off the top 4. You get the same teams nearly every time. This looks like these 4 teams here are the best 4 teams in FIFA if you were to simulate. Juventus also win the FA Cup against Atletico Madrid, and PSG beat Juventus. They beat Juventus 2-0 to win the Carabao Cup. And then we have Atletico Madrid. They managed to draw, but then win on penalties to win the Super Cup. Barcelona win the Champions League, 1-0 against Milan. And then Leverkusen end up beating PSV to win the Europa League. There's none of these teams in there, and that ends up being the end of the experiment. And it's 5 seasons, I simulated it all, and those are the results. I hope you enjoyed, hope you kind of take an opinion of the results and put it down in the comment section. I want to see what you think would actually really happen in real life if all the 20 best teams that I picked, or at least the teams that you think would be in there, how would they do? over 5 seasons, who do you think would win the league every season? Who do you think will win the Champions League every season? Because if you think about it, the best 4 teams in the Champions League are going to be the 4 teams that come from the league. So in theory, every season it should be one of those teams that ends up winning it. So which one would win it every time? Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications. There'll be more FIFA experiments probably every couple of weeks. I'm not going to do it as much as I did before. I think it was too much before, I got burnt out, and that's why I stopped doing it. But now I'm back, motivated and ready to go. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.